Hey guys, welcome to the Knot of the Week. Today we are going to be tying the Carrick Bend as well as turning it into a lanyard knot for a DIY knot board display. Did I get that right? Alright guys, so the best thing to do when you're first tying a Carrick Bend is to use two different ropes, and that's kind of the essence of the Carrick Bend in the beginning, is that it's used to join two ropes. And a good rule of thumb is to make sure that your working load is only about half of the weight rating of the rope. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this line, I'm going to lay it over my hand, and then this I'm going to do kind of a reverse Q. So it's a loop, but this can sometimes be different than this. So I like to say reverse Q versus Q, because I think of a Q as crossing on top. That's just my little mnemonic device, so that's how I refer to it. So you want to have kind of a substantial tail on this, and you're going to lay this over this line. And then what you're going to do with this is you're going to come over this part. So this is your standing part of the line. You're going to come over and underneath the standing part of the other line, and then you're going to dip under the standing part of the green line. So I'm actually going to make sure I'm capturing that, and I'm going to dip under just like so. And that makes the Carrick Bend. I'll just give myself a little more slack here, because the next step in this is to complete the lanyard knot. So with each end, you're going to come around and over. You're basically going to capture the standing parts. I view these as the standing parts right now, here and here. So the pattern you should have looks kind of like the necklace that Atreyu wore in Neverending Story. It kind of looks like that funky pattern there. So you're going to come over, and then you're going to come around, and the goal is to come right through the middle of this diamond, so also referred to as a diamond knot sometimes. So you're going to bring that one through, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. I'm going to come around, cross over top, and then come back through. And then I'm going to pull these two together while I'm pulling these, and if I finagle this correctly, should have what is the lanyard knot. So it should look like concentric wraps all the way around this thing. And people use lanyard knots for all types of things. You can use them for paracord pulls, you can use them as decorative knots, but you can tie this with a single line too. You don't have to have two lines. I was just demonstrating that for the Carrick Bend, because the start of a lanyard knot is the Carrick Bend, and the Carrick Bend is used to join two lines. However, when you're doing it like this, you don't have to necessarily have two lines, and I'd like to just demonstrate that real quick so you can see it. So I'll drop the green line, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here. So this makes my standing part of the line, and then again I'm going to do that little reverse Q thing, just like I showed you, and I'll pull my pinky out of there, and now this becomes the working end here. I apologize if this is a little faster, but it can be kind of unwieldy to hold this all at the same time. So this is the line that goes underneath, but I've got the tail here, so it's going to look a little strange. And again, I'm going to go around and underneath this part of the line. You can see why I used two lines before. It can be a little challenging to see it crossing everything with a single color of rope. But now we've got that pattern again, and we're just going to continue to come around here, just like so. So basically, this working end here is going to come around and come through the middle, and making sure I trap this line, but I'm not going to seize it yet. And then this one will come around here. You can see this already looks pretty crazy. Double check myself, because even I'm getting lost a little here. All right, so we have two things. Another thing I didn't mention on the Carrick Bend is that you want to make sure that you have opposite lines, and I want to mention that real quick. So I have one working end coming this way, and I have one working end coming this way. If you can see, they point different directions. So that's kind of a checkpoint on the Carrick Bend. And if you mess that up, it can be kind of detrimental to your knot tying. So I'll do this first. So I'm going to come to this side, make sure I'm going around this part and up through the middle, just like so. And again on this side, making sure I'm coming around and up through the middle. So it was a little easier that time to show. But now when I grab this and these two lines, my two working ends, and I start putting this together, it becomes the lanyard knot that we just saw earlier. But now I've basically created it out of a single piece. So what you would do now to make a paracord pull or something is you would tie this around the zipper or something like that, and then you would take these lines here and just cut them off and fuse them together and just make the knot a little more stable at the end. So you can do that, you can like loop it through, or you can leave enough length here to like girth hitch it around something to make a pull with the lanyard knot that way. So I know this was a little bit confusing. Hopefully you're following along. Again, the first one was a Carrick Bend, and then it turns into the lanyard knot. All right, so I've added our lanyard knot to our DIY knot board display. And what I'll do is probably create a second one just to show the Carrick Bend as well. I'm kind of trying to figure out how I'm going to do that represented on the board too. But I'll have the lanyard knot and the Carrick Bend because I think they're both kind of cool knots to see represented on this board. Again, still kind of deciding what we're going to do with the outline of this. I've thought about either a cobra knot or something to do around the edge. I've thought about like the standard Solomon bar knot that you see on a paracord bracelet. I've thought about that kind of doing around the edge, but we'll do that probably pretty soon on the next couple of knots, and we'll be back next week with another one. Thank you for watching our knot tying video. Please buy the subscription. I'm just kidding. Please subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time.